I used to think that I had a discipline problem with food. I thought I just needed more control, more willpower, and more motivation. I blamed myself for every time I felt overwhelmed or out of control when it came to food. But the truth is, I wasn't broken. I was just underfueling my body and being incredibly hard on myself. In my last video, I spoke about starting from zero. This video is about what actually helped me begin healing my relationship with food and, of course, with myself. I know I said I would have a video posted next week, but it's actually been nearly 4 weeks. But we're not going to talk about it. In my first video, I shared how I felt completely disconnected with my body. I felt tired, frustrated, and stuck in cycles that I didn't understand. Food, exercise, and my body, these all felt like problems that I constantly had to fix because nothing felt natural or calm anymore. I remember saying that this time felt different. And a lot of people might wonder what I mean by that. What does that actually mean? Because from the outside, it might look like that I was still eating, still training, and still trying. What was different this time was the intention. The intention of actually putting myself first and prioritizing my body and the food that I was putting into my body and the type of food that I was eating. I wasn't trying to punish my body or control it anymore. I was trying to understand it. For a long time, food was never neutral for me. It was never just food. It came with rules, it came with judgment, it came with this constant background noise in my head. If I ate what I considered well, I was proud of myself. I felt like I was doing things right. But if I didn't, the guilt was immediate. The immediate guilt from not eating the right foods. I would always tell myself that I had no discipline, that I needed to be stricter, and that tomorrow I would do better. And it always hit that Monday. And the Sunday night, I'd be like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna start. And the Monday came. I was doing well in the morning, then I ate something bad at lunch. And then I was like, nah, I can't continue now. I'll start next Monday. And that Monday kept coming for years. That Monday kept coming and I never made a difference. I said I would, but I never did. Food was always tied to how I felt about myself that day because even when I was eating, I wasn't present. I was already thinking about what I ate earlier or what I would eat next. My brain would always be like, okay, I'm having this for breakfast. What's for dinner? What's for lunch tomorrow? And it got to that point where I was overseas last year. I was away for 7 weeks. And obviously when you have relatives overseas, they always say the little comments. They have no filter. They're always straight to judgment. I just remember feeling so down about myself and feeling so bad about my body that the day after I got back, I think it was like a Saturday, I signed up for the gym. I got a online coach and I started. I didn't wait for that Monday. I just decided, you know what, if I don't start now, I'm never gonna start. What I didn't realize at the time was how emotionally exhausting this was. Thinking about food all day, planning how to make up for what I ate, avoiding certain situations because I didn't want to lose control. These 3 things were so emotionally exhausting, but that not only drained me emotionally, it drained me mentally and physically and socially. Basically, nearly all 5 dimensions of health, 4 out of 5. I avoided meals out, I avoided eating around other people, and when I did, I felt anxious instead of present. Food stopped being something that supported my life. It became something that controlled it. At some point, I realized something really important. The more I tried to control food, the more power it had over me. Every rule I made only made the noise louder. Every restriction made me think about food more, not less. That was the first time I stopped asking, how do I control this? And I started asking, why does this feel so hard in the first place? And that one question, changed the direction of everything. And everything in the past, in the present, and in the future. And how I was going to be in the present and move forward and change my thinking. Stop thinking so negatively and start changing to positive thinking, to have a positive influence in my life. One of the biggest things that I had to unlearn was the all or nothing mindset. I genuinely believed that if I wasn't perfect, then I had failed. One meal could ruin my entire day. One snack could convince me to give up entirely. Once I started reminding myself that one choice doesn't define everything, the pressure slowly began to ease. Progress is built over time, not in a single day. Learning to continue instead of quit was a huge part of my healing. This was and is still uncomfortable to admit. I wasn't eating enough. I thought I was being disciplined, but I was actually underfueling my body. Skipping meals or eating very little food during the day always led to intense hunger later. And then I blame myself for reacting to that hunger. You have hunger, you have satiety, and you have appetite. These are 3 things that I will be talking about in the future. But if you're not eating foods that satisfy your hunger, then you're going to keep on eating. And this is why people have problems with binge eating, comfort or emotional eating, or under eating, because you're not fueling your body with the correct amount of food or the correct foods. You've got 3 different types of macros. So your macronutrients are protein, fat, and carbs. Obviously, you've got your micronutrients, so you've got zinc, vitamin D, magnesium, all of these little micros that you also need to fulfill your macros and to fulfill your body. So if you're deficient in something like iron, which a lot of women are, you will see a difference in the way your body acts and the way your hormones produce, because you'll start seeing things like purging or fatigue or your energy. And these are a really, really, really big part that not enough people are talking about. Once I started eating regular meals and snacks, things started to feel calmer. Food stopped feeling urgent because my body started trusting that it would be fed. That trust changed everything. Another thing that helped me was slowing down, actually sitting down to eat, putting my phone away and giving myself permission to enjoy meals. This sounds so small, really small, but it mattered, and it does matter. When I slowed down, I felt more in tune with my body. I noticed hunger, I noticed fullness, and I noticed satisfaction. Food stopped feeling rushed and stressful. In my first video, I spoke about how I didn't hate my body. I hated how I spoke to it. That was especially true when it came to food. My inner dialogue was so harsh because every meal felt like a test that I could fail. I started practicing speaking to myself with more patience. Instead of asking, what did I do wrong? I asked, what can I learn from this? That shift made food feel less emotional and more neutral. I stopped labeling foods as good or bad. Food stopped being something I had to earn or compensate for. Some foods nourish you physically, some foods nourish you socially and emotionally. Both are valid. Once food stopped being tied to morality, it lost a lot of its power over me. This was one of the hardest parts. I had to accept that my worth does not change based on what I eat or how my body looks. My body changing does not mean I failed. Eating differently does not mean I lost control. This is still something I practice, and that's okay. This is what I meant when I said this time felt different. I wasn't chasing control anymore. I wasn't trying to shrink myself or punish my body. I was trying to build trust with myself, and that changes everything. That genuinely changes everything. If food feels overwhelming or emotional for you, I want you to know this. You are not broken, you are not weak, and you do not lack discipline. Most of the time, your body is reacting exactly how it should to restriction, stress, or pressure. Healing is slow. It's not fast, it's not moderate. It's slow. But that doesn't mean that it isn't working. This channel is not telling you what to eat or how to look. It is about helping you feel more at peace with your body and mind. We will talk about nutrition, mindset, lifestyle, and growth in a realistic way, without extremes, without guilt, and without perfection. So, if you are starting from 0 to or trying to rebuild your relationship with food or yourself, I would love for you to follow along. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for giving yourself permission to start again. I will see you in the next video.